Welcome to the Jennifer J. Hammond Podcast. Jennifer is a licensed realtor, educator, speaker, and best-selling author. Jennifer's goal is to help you find your yay in every day. Jennifer is grateful for the opportunity to educate, empower, and inspire you with powerful conversations, insights, and new viewpoints. Here's your host, Jennifer J. Hammond.
Podcast. This has been so much fun. I'm starting to create all the things that I wanted to talk about. And one of the most important ones is I have so much gratitude for my friends and my colleagues. And so today is Melissa Hall. I'm so excited. She's a very dear friend. Yay! Welcome, Melissa.
Thank you, Jennifer. I am so excited to be here. First of all, let me just start off by saying I love your energy. You are always the best person to have a conversation with because you just light up. You just have such this, and it's like I don't even know what the right word is. It's electrifying. I just love the way you say hello to your audience and hello to me. So hello, Jennifer.
Hello. Thank you for saying that, because I get so excited when I know that we can, and you are also one of those people who you just make such a difference in the world. And I know you're an author, you're an international speaker, a TV host, all of these amazing things. You're a coach. You love teaching people how to do things. But one of the things that I love most, and I know I had you on when I had my Sirius XM radio show, but I love that you share your heart. And I know you had a TV show called The Ripple Effect, and you talk about all the time about making ripples in the world, ripples of goodness out there. Yeah. And so with COVID-19 and coronavirus 2020, this year has been a huge challenge. And I just thought it would be great if we could start off talking about gratitude and what kind of advice would you give to people who want to make a ripple effect of good and not spread their sadness or obviously any other badness?
We are in interesting times, right? And one of the most difficult things to do when we're faced with so many challenges is to find a way to be grateful, right? How easy is it to say to the person who's just lost their job, hey, find a way to be grateful? It feels almost insensitive, doesn't it?
It does.
But it does. It can feel almost insensitive or even somewhat insulting or off-putting. Okay, go be grateful, blah, blah, blah. I really want to challenge people to really look at what it means to be grateful, because gratitude is so important. I looked at and trust me, COVID-19 has been hard. This has been a hard year, professional changes, personal changes, changes to my family dynamic. And it has been really hard for me to find gratitude in the midst of it. And I think sometimes we need a little bit of time to sit with the things and to process. But as I look back on this year, starting in, early February of this year, I was faced with some real devastating challenges, both professionally and personally. It kind of took my breath away in a way. It took my joy away for a minute. It took a lot out of me, but I realized as I was going through that there were certain things that I still was grateful for. My daughter was home. And I had been, traveling the world and been a very busy professional, but I now have this very focused time with my daughter. And it's given me the ability to reconnect with her in such a beautiful way. So I'm grateful for that. And that's a big thing. It's no small thing to have bonus time with our children, because she would have been at school. I would have been going on with the, career and the pursuit of all of those dreams that I have. And it stopped us. And I have this beautiful relationship now that I can say, I'm grateful that COVID slowed us both down to give us that time. I still lost, some very wonderful that I thought were going to be wonderful relationships and professionally. And I still went through the divorce and came out the other side, feeling feeling rather okay about it all, know? But you have to be willing to find the good. And that's the other, like, I think kind of component to gratitude is a willingness to look into things and still pull out those silver linings, right, Jennifer?
Absolutely. And it's funny when you were saying that, it made me think about that song, Cats in the Cradle.
Yeah.
Because it's amazing. I think that is a blessing that all of us with COVID-19, I think that also, one of the ways that it actually applies to home and real estate in an interesting way is everyone, I believe, is reevaluating what home means. And I say that with my little air quotes for those of you listening and not watching the video, that I realize that we all have defined home in a different way, just like New Yorkers were like, wait a minute, home was just a place to kind of sleep. And I might have had a microwave, but no kitchen in my place because I barely was there. I just slept there. And then all of a sudden they were trapped with their 3 kids and their spouse. And they were like, oh, dear God, this is not going to be okay. And I think that, again, realizing that I love some of the videos I saw of New Yorkers and even people in Italy who were singing songs like Cats in the Cradle by Cat Stevens, and realizing, oh my gosh, we're going to find gratitude in the midst of what I thought was, going to be just absolute horrific experience. And I think that's the other thing. I know when you talk about the ripple effect, one of the other things that I know, like you just mentioned, personally and professionally, major changes this year. And I've experienced them as well in my own world, but I know you've experienced some amazing ones. And how do you embrace that change when, and I want to say it in a kind of a rough way, but when it was forced on you, it slammed on you, you didn't get to choose it. And that's a gut-wrenching, like, no, my heart hurts.
Well, I'm not going to be very articulate when I say this. It sucked. It really was hard. There's no pretty way of saying that, oh, it wasn't so bad. No, it was bad. It was not fun. It felt unfair. I was pissed off. I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean you just made this decision that has an effect on me and you left me completely out of that conversation? Like, how dare you? That's very insensitive. That's wrong. And I wanted to kind of state my case, plead my case, argue with them. And then I realized, you know what? There are blessings that do come in disguise. They start off feeling very negative, but by God, or my God, they can really be wonderful gifts. So I look at everything, and it all came within weeks. I'm not even joking. 1 week it's hey, I think that we need to, move on and not be married anymore, to 2 weeks later, my business partners decided to kind of end a partnership. They had, some differences. And then all of a sudden, a project that I'd spent 2.5 years working on, gone. It just felt really sudden and unexplained. And 2020 was not starting off. I knew it was going to be a year of transformation. I asked for that year. I said, I want this year to be a year of radical transformation. And boy, was it ever.
Be careful what you wish for.
You know what? I think the universe has God, however you want to look at this, has a beautiful way of giving us exactly what we need, whether we know we need it or not, right? We can ask for radical change and we're thinking, oh, just make it all sunshine, rainbows. Give me all the goodness. But sometimes we got to get through a little bit of the yucky stuff to go from being in good to find our great. And that's the way I look at it. I'm in the pursuit of greatness. I was good. Life was really good. But boy, on the other side of this, a few months later, with perspective and having the ability to slow down, to really process, there's not a single thing that I have, I guess, technically lost. I don't think of it as a loss. I do think that this transition, these were the things that I needed to release in order to embrace what is in my what's next. And my what's next is so much bigger and greater than I ever think I could have imagined it, or maybe would have even allowed myself to dream of, because I was good, remember? And good feels great in the moment, right? It feels really wonderful. But my greatness, that next part of my life, I have excitement again. My creativity is like off the charts. My joy and my happiness off the charts. And yes, I've had some loss, but it has only transitioned me into this better place to really receive all the things that I think are really in store for me. And
Well,
so
I
that's how I get through it.
I mean, I love that you started that whole thing with blessings in disguise.
Mhm.
What a beautiful phrase, because again, like you said, I feel like my heart got ripped out several times this year on both a personal level as well as a professional level. And yet, just like I was saying about that song, Cats in the Cradle, it's amazing how I've had the opportunity to get closer to friends, even like you. I've
Yeah,
gotten the opportunity to call up and be vulnerable and ask for help, but I've also been able to be the person there to be there
absolutely.
when we need someone to talk to. And so I think that, just like you said about your relationship with your daughter, it's a blessing that, again, you were just like me, in the fact that I was running in so many different directions and on a plane and overseas, and I'm here and I'm there and I'm speaking, and I realized that it all of a sudden made me slow down. And it's kind of like a Band-Aid, rip the Band-Aid off and no, it did not feel good. I'm not going to
Yeah.
try to sugarcoat. It was not fun.
No, it's nobody would volunteer for the difficulties that come our way if we knew how painful they were going to feel in the moment. But if we could see what was on the other side, we would stand in line and maybe even try to push and shove to get to the front of the line because we know what's on the other side of it. And that's the part that I really learned to kind of get quiet. I don't try to force myself into having the answer right away. I let myself really feel it all. I process it. I'm a painter, I'm a writer. I spend a lot of time just pouring my heart out and my pain out of me and onto a page or onto a canvas. But you talked about vulnerability. And I think, when I picked up the phone and you were one of the first people I called, I said, you're not going to believe this. Like, I don't know what to do. I'm really devastated. My heart is hurting. Like, this is heavy. And you were there with that beautiful, wonderful, warm spirit. And you said to me, I'm here for you. We'll get through this. And you know what? Sometimes that's what we need. We need just to say, look, I'm really stuck. I'm struggling. I'm hurting. I'm devastated. I literally don't feel like I even want to put one foot in front of the other. I just want to give up and walk away from it all. Because if it's going to be this hard, I tap out. But you said, you gave me such support and love in that moment. And that moment was what kept me holding on so I could get through that next day. And sometimes it really is just going to the people that we know that love us and that we can trust with our, those painful experiences, to just say, I need you. I need you. And I think that's another thing that has come this year that I've really been grateful for, the friendships that I've made. I am blessed to have you. I'm blessed to have my daughter, my son. I'm even blessed to have the ex-husband that I have, because we are great friends. And that is a gift in and of itself, isn't it not?
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So I can't really say that this year has been easy or that I would have signed up for it necessarily. But looking at where I'm at today, it's good. I'm like in a great place. I have joy and optimism for what's going to take me from this day and propel me forward. I'm taking stock of all the things that I am thankful for, and there's many. My list of the things that I'm thankful for, it's pages and pages, versus those few things that not so much. They weren't so fun, but boy, if it's opened my eyes to be able to really see the blessings, then I think that too is something to be grateful for, just to be aware of what we have. And it can seem small and insignificant in a moment, but truly, how beautiful is friendship? How beautiful is it? How beautiful is the love of your son and your daughter?
Yeah.
Your sister, your brother, my dog Charlotte, I'm grateful for that damn dog, because I held her at night and sobbed with her just, right there. My little Charlotte is my little, I guess she is my emotional support dog. You know, she's gotten me through some tough times. She's also the source of great joy. I just am grateful for the littler things. I'm more present than I have been in a long time. And that's probably something that I don't necessarily like to admit, but it's true. And that came through some real difficult things. It brought me back. It centered me again. And I am grateful for that. So how I got here, not the best, but I'm here, and I like this place. So I'm going to just be grateful for it.
And I'm so grateful that you called me when you got that bad news,
Yeah.
and that there was a connection of a friendship that it made me feel it made me feel so good to be that person you called and to feel that kind of vulnerability. And again, when it happened to me, and I had some horrible things and feeling super vulnerable, and it made me realize also, I wanted to go back for a second to think about my childhood. I remember waking up one time and my mom and dad were fighting. I mean, and they fought a lot. So I heard things breaking, there was crashing, all sorts of stuff. And then I kind of listened closely, and I wanted to hide underneath the covers because it was the middle of the night. And I realized that our car was getting repossessed in the middle of the night, and that we were losing our home. And it's funny because as much as that was horrific as a little child to experience, and to realize that my mom and dad, they didn't know how to make good financial decisions. Nobody had taught them, and they just had not done it. And so that experience in some ways scarred me. And I felt like, as you say, a blessing in disguise, because as I got older, and then when I got into an adult, I realized, okay, I want to find every blessing in disguise that I can with everything. And it made me so compassionate and passionate about real estate and teaching real estate, and how can we find a way to help others, because those ripple effects that we can make in the world. And as you said, maybe the imagery that came to mind as you were describing it earlier, it was amazing. I was thinking about some of the worst hurricanes and storms I've been through when I was growing up as a kid in the islands. And you don't really get a rainbow unless there's a storm. And as you said, you might push and scream to get to the front of the line if you realize how beautiful those rainbows are after the storm settles and the rain goes away, and you might have been all wet and it might have felt like, oh my gosh, I'm falling off a cliff, I'm about to die. Because there were sometimes emotionally, even this year, it reminded me of when I was a kid, when I thought, well, what do you mean? You're my parents. You're supposed to make sure I have a place to live. And don't we need a car?
Yeah. Nobody likes uncertainty. Nobody. And it's very hard to find peace and calm in the midst of so much transition, and because it can feel chaotic. And to be calm in the midst of chaos is really about finding a centeredness and having the mindfulness to realize that this moment too shall pass. This moment is just that, it's a moment.
Yeah.
So pause, let the moment be, because it will pass. And it's to have that presence of mind so that you can be in the midst of a lot of change that you didn't want, change that was uninvited, felt forced. None of this is easy, but you can still find a way to find peace if you just know this too will pass. There's power in that. That pause is for you. Like, take that moment and let the moment be. And then when it passes, begin. Take that next step. It gives you time to focus and figure out, okay, now what? What's next? How do I? What can I? Those questions are empowering questions. If if it's just all about, why did this happen? Why is it? Those are disempowering questions.
Yep.
Flip it. Make it about, okay, what am I to learn in this moment? What can I receive or look at differently in this moment? How can I approach things differently starting today or tomorrow? Those are empowering. Never lose don't give away the power of your choice to the chaos of a moment, because it passes.
Yep.
And if you do that, you're going to always be kind of, it's like, I guess like you're always going to be affected by whatever wind blows your way, whether it be all positive or some negative. You don't be solid. And the only way to be solid is to be very, very sure of who you are, what you want to be in the world. No matter what is going on in the world, you have the choice of being a good person, a kind person, a decent, loving, compassionate person. We have a choice. So don't give it away to the moment.
Yes. I want to say there's three things that I heard you say that I think are such powerful gems that I want to highlight them and reiterate them. Number one, I think the most important thing, and you said it earlier as well, is being present and being right here. Today really is our gift, to be here present, like just even in this moment, in this interview with you, I'm so grateful, but I'm right here, and I love it because there's this moment I feel so connected to you. And I know that there are many people who are listening who will, be blessed by also understanding that we're all connected. If you just take that moment to be present right now in today and not let, what happened yesterday rob you of being right now in the present moment, happy, sad, whatever, but be here and be present. And number two, the other thing, you mentioned it earlier and then you highlighted it as well, and that's create. Whether it's art, whether it's painting, whether it's creating music, whether it's singing, or whether it's hugging your amazing, puppy, whatever it is, you create that, creating friendships. You find a way to create. And I think that we each have our own way of doing that. And some people do it through baking cookies. Some people do it through painting. Some people do it through song, musicians who are very talented, so, and then number three, the other thing I thought was so great you just said is think about your future, create your future. And I always say, find your yay in every day. There's something we can say yay about. And even on the worst days, it might just be that you have a home. You have a place to live, you're not in the gutter. And, and I know so many people right now are also struggling with food on their table. I mean, every so often I have a tendency to overeat. And it's funny because recently I was just having a brand new appreciation for eating slowly and not gobbling my food up, because I realized that we also had a scarcity of food when I was a kid. And so I have a tendency that when I get emotionally upset, then I start to eat because I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to eat again, which is take a deep breath, be present, be thankful. And I think that that's one of the most important things, is just also realizing that we all can do something about it. We're never powerless. Like you just said, stop asking the why. I mean, there's so many things I could ask why about, like, why coronavirus?
Absolutely.
Why?
Yeah. I really learned that lesson when my son passed away. Like, why did this happen? Why my son? Why me? Why so much? Why doesn't it ever seem to end? Because there had been a lot, even, and when I stopped asking why and I started asking, what can I do? How do I move through? Where can I add something beautiful to this day that honors him and brings him with me, and not in sadness, but in the spirit that he would have had, which was full of energy and joy. That's when I realized that you have to be careful of the why questions. Why questions lead you in circular kind of spiral, and they never seem to spiral up. They always seem to spiral down, don't they? And then you're sitting there with a pint of ice cream and you're listening to sad music and you're sobbing. And you're like, why? And it's finally, and then you're like, why is the ice cream carton gone? Why is it empty? Why? For crying out loud, whys don't work. And unless you're asking, why is it happening in this moment? What am I to learn? Let it be the door opener. Why did this happen? And on the other side of that why question, I can say today, to help me arrive at the woman that you see standing before you today, because I would not have been this woman had that not happened. My life is sweet, bitter, right? It's sweet, there's those moments of real tragedy and real pain, but they don't overshadow the beauty in my world. I am blessed beyond measure, and I am truly aware of that. So it's never forgetting that it's those little things. Be grateful for the friend that you can pick up and call, or the person you can walk across the street to, or wave to, from your apartment window. Smile through the window at another person and receive the smile back. Those are things to be grateful for, because even if it's just you've got the presence to remember to smile, that's a really wonderful thing. So start small and work up, I guess, is the other thing I'm saying. If you are really struggling, if you really feel like I have nothing to be grateful for, and these two women, they can say whatever they want to say, but they don't know what I'm going through. And listen, I have been that woman. I have said, I've had people like come over and say beautiful, wonderful, positive things. And I'm thinking, you just need to leave because you're irritating the crap out of me.
Yes.
I don't, thank you, but that won't work for me right now. All I can say to that person is have hope.
Yeah.
Don't let anything rob you of your hope, a hope for a better hour, a better minute. Start small and build up. I remember having to tell myself, I'm going to take 15 minutes and I'm not going to feel bad for 15 minutes. And I had to start small. It seemed like 15 minutes seemed pretty obtainable, but I had to start with 5 in order to get to my 15.
And I think that's the thing, is it's gradients. It's a matter of, like you said, it's small steps. And it also, again, I'm going to make a movie reference back to, oh my gosh, now I'm going to blank on the movie where he does little steps, baby steps, baby steps, baby steps.
Oh
my gosh,
I can't remember.
I can't think of the name.
I know which movie you're talking about, though.
But I think it's really important. Oh no! Oh my gosh, I hate when that happens.
Oh my gosh, I can't remember what it is. But I know which movie you're talking about. Yeah.
But it's the truth of realizing that we all have to go when we want to, because I've been the same place. There have been times where people are like, this is a great thing for you. No, and maybe it is, but right now I don't see that. And I am not in agreement with that, because right now it just feels
well, that's why I said earlier, sometimes you got to take a moment, like you got to slow yourself down to process.
Yeah.
Because you can be given great information, and how many of us has been on the receiving end of like, hey, if you do this, this, and this, you can have X, Y, and Z, and isn't that fabulous? And you're like, well, hold on a minute, I got to do this, this, and this first. But when you like stop resisting it, and you're just like, okay, I choose it. It changes. Yeah. It changes everything. And there again, willingness. Have the willingness to find it. You just have to be willing. Yeah. And it's there, and it's amazing. It shows up. It shows up when you are willing to see it or appreciate it.
It's like willing to look for ideas and solutions. There's solutions all around you. There's ways to be creative all around you, but you have to do the one that's like, just like what you said about creating art, or creating a relationship with your daughter, a better relationship, a relationship you never had, any of that kind of stuff. It's very much about, what is it for you? Because it's not because it was the right solution for Melissa to do art. It doesn't mean that you need to do art. Maybe the thing you need to do is go for a walk and look at all the different kinds of leaves on every single tree that you pass by. And maybe that's your thing. Whatever it is, you find whatever makes you, again, have those ripples of goodness in the world and create a better world, because we all have the power to do that. And that's one of the reasons I admire you so much, Melissa. Thank you for all that you do. And remember, you can always get Melissa Hall at melissahall.com. She is one of my favorite people, and we're always looking for gratitude everywhere. And please look for some gratitude in this world, and look for something you're grateful for, you're thankful for. Perhaps it's your home, and maybe you want to get a chance to change your home and do something different. Remember, you can make ripples of goodness no matter where you are. So melissahall.com. I'm so incredibly grateful that she was with us today, and that she shared so many of her stories today. What an incredible pleasure to have her with us. And as usual, I'm going to say, I hope that you go out into the world and that you make someone else smile. So share your smile. I am Jennifer Hammond.
Hi, I'm Jack Canfield. You may know me as the co-author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. And if you want more help in getting from where you are to where you want to be, I want to encourage you to listen to the Jennifer Hammond Show